Hello everyone, Ceri the Crafter here, that's C-E-R-I the Crafter, and we're here with a bit of it's a make. Let's just call it a make. Now this make has been inspired by one of my friend Darcy Sanders' video launches, which was probably about 3 days ago, maybe 4 days ago. I'll put the link in the description box below. And Darcy is currently using scraps up in a project, and I have got scraps and scraps, and this is only 2 boxes of them. So I can assure you, I'm quite happy to be using scraps. Now, Darcy is actually making an altered book into a scrap journal. So basically, it's a journal for writing and recording life or moments or poetry, whatever you wish. But all of the elements used within it are created with scraps. Now, I'm no stranger to making altered books. I have made in the past, in fact, I think there's a video on this channel where I've turned a book into an altered book, which then became an art journal. I'm not overly fond of turning books into art journals because the unpredictable nature of the paper you're working on can sometimes react in very peculiar ways. Also, the book isn't meant for artwork, so sometimes overuse, or if you put too much product on the page, sometimes you get cracking, stuff like that. So if I'm making an art journal out of an altered book, I expect it to be a place where I play and experiment, and that's how I would use that. I've never, however, made an altered book into a journal using scraps. In fact, I've never made an altered book into a journal I write in. And I do know that my friend Gail Augustinelli has made several, so I'm going to put a link to Darcy's video, and then I'm going to trawl through Gail's channel and see, I think she must have a playlist somewhere for altered books. So you've got 2 different places to come from. So I'm going to do it now. This video is not going to be just one video. There's going to be more than one video in this series. However, just know I'm going to launch a video on this project when I get round to it, when I slot in with others. So today we're going to do basically the preparing of the journal or the book. We'll probably do a couple of pages in it, and then in the next video, which may be in a week or two's time, it may be in a month's time, we'll go on to the next station. I'll work it all the way through. We may do an end-to-end process in this, but certainly not with videos following one after the other, after the other, after the other, because I have other commitments and other videos that have to be done at certain times. What I will promise you, though, is if there's any videos in this series, if you look in the description box below the video, click on the word more, it will open up either below or beside, and in there will be a link to every single one of the videos that's related to this video. I don't want to make a playlist. I have enough playlists as it is. So enough of that explanation. What am I using? Okay, as you know, I go to charity shops, thrift shops, and I get books. As you can see, this was in a charity shop, 95p. Get that off there. I don't need it on there. And this has been on my shelf for a while. And the reason I haven't used it for anything else yet is because I hadn't come up with something that I could use it for. It's in good condition. So therefore, I probably wouldn't have gutted the book. It's also full of imagery and stuff that I would love to use. So I've been stumbling about what to do with it. And I think the altered book is a really, really perfect thing, because all of the pages I will take out of this to make the book will then be fussy cut or fussy torn, or elements will be turned into stuff, maybe even for this book itself, or maybe for future work. So that's what I'm doing. Now, a couple of things to understand when you're doing an altered book. Now, anyone who's watching this has done an altered book before, skip ahead a bit. I'm taking this approach that someone watching this may have never done an altered book in their life, and this is going all the way from get-go through to the end. So when I'm looking for a book to do an altered book, I look for one where I like the cover. 90% of the time, I don't do anything with the cover. I do tend to look for canvas covers, or ones that have got something like cloth on them, because if I'm going to decorate them, I'm likely to either cover them in paper or gel prints, or I'm going to cover them in fabric. So that's why I look for a good solid cover with something that's not shiny, because as you can see, this label is shiny. When I cover this, I'm probably going to take that label off because I want stuff to stick to it and doesn't stick well till it's shiny. Also, I look at the quality of this here and this here. Because I'm not gutting the book, I'm not taking the book block or all of these signatures out, it's important that that's still got its integrity. Now, it depends on how I go. I may, when I've finished, I might actually glue that page to the inside cover to actually reinforce that page that holds it in. That'll be a decision later down. Now, when you're buying a book or getting a book or choosing a book to use for an altered book, there are two sorts of book bindings you need to be aware of. A lot of the time with books, let's turn it upside down, you'll be able to see it better. This here, it should have a gap down the back. Let's find something to put into there. Right, a paintbrush. There you go. Now, that's an indication that these are usually signatures that are stuck onto a piece of fabric or reinforcement, and then the cover goes over the back. This can also be done with a glued block as well, and by block I mean this bit. Now what you're looking for, it's going to be really hard to show you on here, but see when I let this relax, this naturally goes into sections. That means these are signatures, and the signature is pieces of paper that are actually folded. See if I can find you one. Right, here we go. This will be easier to show you. Right, these are pieces of paper that have been folded in half. So if I put these pieces of paper together, come on, yes, that's probably enough. And I tap them together. These are what's called a signature. A signature is pieces of paper folded in half and then attached to the spine of a book. So when I relax this again, so you can see it, all of these pieces here, well actually that one there is a signature. So they've all been put and sewn in or glued in or bound in. Now normally, and this is just by my knowledge of taking them apart, I'm no bookbinder, I have no training in this, I just know what I know. These are normally stitched to the fabric at the back here, then reinforced and stuck, and then the covers are put onto them. So when I say a signature, it's a pile of folded pages. Now, you'll note I've put little bits of post-it notes or sticky notes on here. That's because I need to know where the center of each of those signatures is, because that's where the sewing will be visible. So let's go into one of these. Now, it's really hard to see because the people who created these books try to match the thread, which you can probably just see there at the end of my paintbrush. They try to match it perfectly with the book pages so that it looks invisible. So I can assure you, if you can't see it correctly, there is stitching there. I'm going to move this around because sometimes the light catches on the threads. Now the process I use, and I'm only going to talk about the process I've used because umpteen people do different processes. I work myself from the, actually put this out of the way, it's going to annoy me. I work from the very front of the cover all the way to the back, finding these pages that have got the threads in them. Okay, I can see they're in there. Don't know whether you can. So I've gone through the whole book. Now, there's a couple of things you need to be aware of because you're probably going to think all the signatures are exactly the same amount of pages. That isn't always the truth. Now, I've gone through and I've counted. I've gone from this one to this one, sorry, to this one. And I know I've got pages 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. The signature will always be an even number of pages because it's a piece of paper that's folded in half. Okay? Now, this signature here, if I do this to it, this side has got 8 and this side has got 8 because where the center is, there's 8 pages on this side, and if I was to count 8 pages on this side, this would be the signature. So I know there's 16 pages to most of the signatures here. However, when they're making books, the amount of pages don't always equally divide into the signatures. So sometimes I have found that the very center signature might have maybe 1 page, 2 pages less, or maybe 1 page more. Now, you don't always need to know this, but just in case you thought, right, I'm going to check my signatures. So Ceri said there's 16 on his. So if I know that's the middle of one signature, that's the middle of the other signature. If I count these as 16. Here, there's 16. Here, there's less. I can feel it already. This is the center signature, which I think when I counted them has got 12 in it. So just be aware of those things, guys. Just be aware. It is good to know, however, the amount of pages in your signature on average, because I know that there's 16 pages. So as I said, that gives me 8 and where's the other half gone? That gives me 8 on this side of the stitching, 8 on that side of the stitching. So I can take out up to 7 pages if I wish. Now, Darcy and hers took all but the outside pages of each signature. I believe she took them all out. I'm not going to do that. So if I've got 16 pages, I reckon if I take 8 pages out of each signature, that will halve this book. So I'm going to systematically go from the front of the book to the back, and this will be classed as 1. This would be classed as 2. This would be classed as 3. This would be classed as 4. Okay? What I would say is when you're working, make sure you put the paper tab back in the middle, or that's probably going to be obvious. Now, when you look at the very front and the back of the book, you will have extra pages that may not be included in the signature. So just go with your gut and use your judgment. So I'm here on this. So I'm going to pull this tag and go 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to put this on one side just so I know I've got there. Now, what you don't want to do is break the threads that are in the middle there. So gently, gently, try and get the page started, and then just gently pull it. I usually pull it this way instead of towards me. And what you'll find is as you take out each page, the opposite page will come out. Now, you're going to come across slight problems in that sometimes you'll have bits like this left in your stitching. All I would say is just grab yourself a set of tweezers, and you can get a pair of tweezers, and if there's anything trapped there, pull it out, which it won't be on this because I've just done it. So that's one page. Again, take it slowly. You don't want to damage that thread. That's 2 pages. That's 3 pages. This bit's big enough for me to pull out my fingers. And I'm down to the 4th page. Right, so effectively I've now reduced this by a quarter in that signature. So I'm going to go through this book, and I'm not going to make you watch me do it. You've just seen me do that. I'm going to go through it one more time. So fast forward if you choose. I just want to go through just in case you're new to this. So this is the center of my signature with the stitching. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just going to put my tab on the side so I know that, say I got a call to the front door or the phone or something, I know where I'm at. So that's 1. And I would say take out the little pieces that don't come out as you see them. It gets frustrating later on otherwise. So that's number 2. It'd be nice to have these images actually, because they've been sat in this book and I've not done anything with them because I didn't know what I was going to do with them. Now I'm being a bit picky in taking these little pieces out. They may or may not bother you. It depends on how big the piece is. I'm just a bit of a neat freak when it comes to that. 3. It'll also depend on the age of your book as to how robust your pages are. I wouldn't go with something like a really antique book, because sometimes age makes the spine brittle, makes the pages brittle. It can be done. It can be done. You just need to be aware of it as you're doing it. I'll take that out of there. Right, so once again, I've now taken a quarter of that signature out. So I'm going to go on through and take all of these pages out and I'll be back to you. And I'm back. Okay, this is now what your book is going to look like. Now, I must admit, I told you to take 4 out of each signature. When I took 4 out, I took another look and thought, you know what? And I took an extra page out. So I've taken 5 pages out of each signature, not 4. Just for clarity here, your book will be your book. My book is my book. You also need to be able to judge roughly, and this only comes with experience, guys, how much space you want in it. Now, you're probably thinking, Ceri, you've taken all the pages out. But remember, each of these pages, when it's worked on, is going to be covered in paper, so it's going to thicken by 2/3. And then on top of that, if I came back through and put pockets or tags or stuff like this, or if I fold this over and actually made that a pocket, or there are ways of doing pockets with the page folds. Those I'm not doing. I'm probably going to stick pockets in, never stick them in at all. But judging how many pages you've got left is up to experience, to be honest with you. But just as an example, I went through this book and removed all of these pages. Joy of joys, that's now fussy cutting. We know I'm not a lover of fussy cutting. However, when I counted the pages that are left in here, I still have 58 pages, a page being one of these, which means I now still have 116 writing surfaces, which is huge for a journal. I did not include in that count the back cover or the front cover. So I think 116 writing surfaces is more than enough. Now, there's one other thing I wanted to address, which is why this one is sticking up. Now, this, I think, must have been the middle of the signature. Because remember I said the middle one had 12 pages or something? I think when they constructed this book, the middle signature, they glued in a little differently, because I had a slightly different problem trying to get the last page out of there. And I just wanted to address that just so you can see what I'm going to do. So I've taken one of the pages that was in here, and I just want to make sure that's pretty much reinforced. I'm just going to tear a strip off this, and I'm going to fold it in half as best I can. So why am I bothering to do this with the center? I just want to make sure that it's got enough integral strength. I would if I could fold the flipping thing. Thank you. I want to make sure it's got enough integral strength in there, just because if this has been a problem for me tearing out, it might be a problem over time. So there's no guarantee it is. I just want to make sure I've covered my bases. So I've just got a magazine page here for gluing surfaces. So I'm just going to come in and I'm just using a glue stick. Now, actually that's the wrong glue stick. That's a new one. I need the old one. It's worth saying here that these pages are obviously of a children's book. And they're not coated in anything. They're not shiny. They're not glossy. They're not satin. They are literally just regular paper. So I'm going to use a glue stick. This is the brand for the whole of this, unless I'm gluing something which is, say, a painted surface to a painted surface, and then I may reassess. So I'm going to come in, pop that into the middle of there, slide it into the right place. I'm then going to use my ruler just to press it down, just to make sure that I've got it down into that spine. That'll just give me a little bit of peace of mind, to be honest, that I've done the best I can. And the pages that we're going to glue over the top will cover up this edge anyway, but that's just how I would reinforce anything. That, use your own judgment, guys. If you think it looks like a weak spot, doing something like that is not a problem. I'll just put that over there, that over there. So, now, as I said, I am probably only going to decorate the pages. I don't know that I'm going to put on anything like pockets. I'm certainly not going to do folds like I know Darcy and Gail will have put folds into theirs. Gail especially has a method where she folds and tucks and things like that. I'm not doing that. I'm doing one where if I'm going to add a tuck spot or a pocket, anything, I will attach it separately to slide extra stuff into. So the next stage now, I'm just going to take these out of here because they're going to annoy me otherwise, and they can be recycled for the next one. My next job now is to actually just start working. Now, I would say if you're going to work in an altered book, do not systematically start at the front and then work your way to the back. Treat it a little bit as you would maybe like an art journal or a journal like a glue book or something like that, because what you're going to find is if you work in the order of the pages, then you're going to find that the front of the book is going to distort and push it to the back. So what I would say is maybe do one in the front and then flip and do a page at the back. Then maybe flip and go to the middle. Work a way around, and that will not overly stress the spine. It will just give you ways of working. Now, when it comes to stuff like this, I'm going to leave these pages because I don't know what I want to do yet. This page, I may leave this page as is and actually just put a different label there. So I'm going to start here, and I'm going to pull in. Get my boxes here. I'm not sure you're going to be able to see everything, guys, because obviously I'm going to be trying to work and glue and everything on the same surface inside here. Now, something Darcy did, which is what I like to do as well, is I'm going to use bits of coffee dyed paper, or these are actually vintage pages that I've torn out of other books, or there's going to be pages like this. I'm going to work my way through, let's bring this in so you see. I'm going to work my way through, so anything that looks like this will become a new writing surface in my book. I don't need them all to be the same colour. In fact, I'm going to try not to do them the same colour, because if I try to get them all the same colour, I can guarantee I'm going to run out before I do page 116, and I'm going to get frustrated because then some look one colour, some look the other. So I'm going to work my way through. It doesn't have to be coffee dyed, it could be plain. So just know that's what I'm going to do. Also, stuff like music paper or lined paper, anything along those lines is fair game as far as I'm concerned. And that's another reason I'm going to jump back and forth throughout the book, because that way, if I do run out of one coloured paper, I can grab another and it'll fit in nicely. So first thing I'm going to do is I want to establish where the writing section is going to be first of all. And I'm going to vary the writing section each time I put a writing section in. Sometimes I may not put a writing section in. Sometimes I may put 2 writing sections or no writing section at all. Or I might just put a strip down the side because I don't know what the eventual use of this is going to be. I've got a feeling I might take this on my next vacation with me and it might become something I write in there. I don't know. So I've now established my first piece. I'm going to come in and I'm going to pull in some of these scraps here. That's a bit bright for what I'm looking for. Don't forget, guys, you can also use washi tape and stuff like that. This will feel a bit heavy for what I want. I could just put text in as well. Actually, let's put that bit in. I quite like the colour of that. There's sewing pattern tissue here. Remember, that will go over there. If it goes over anything with printing underneath, it's going to become very visible. I've got origami paper. The style of the journal will dictate which sort of papers you're going to reach for. Okay, I am planning to make a very eclectic journal. That's quite nice. I think that comes from a cut and collage book. So I'm just going to use pieces. I'm just pulling stuff out. I'll start with those for a start. So there are no rules to this bit, guys. Absolutely no rules. And you can tear, not tear. You can cut, you can not cut. It's completely up to you as to how you want to handle things. If I've got scraps this big, they're going in the trash or in the bin or in the rubbish, however you want to call it. I am not going to be keeping stuff for the sake of keeping it. I like to tear my edges. I am not going to ink all of my edges unless I really, really am in the mood to ink, because inking takes time. I like the look of inking, but if I was going to ink anything, I would probably ink around the entire page when it was finished and not necessarily the individual bits. But that's one of the differences you'll see between Darcy, myself, and Gail. If you watch all 3 of us make them, we will work in different ways when it comes to inking. I'll slide that up so it's at the top. Just going to use a cake scraper just to smooth that in. I'm liking that already. I will trim the edges when I get around to trimming the edges. Now, do I want to try that on the other side? Well, maybe not. We'll leave that for another one. Right. That might work across there. So this is the fun bit, guys. This is the fun bit. Now, this is why I said I'm not going to be able to do this all in one video for you, because it's 116 pages. I mean, good grief, I'd be here for hours and hours and hours if I was going to try and do them all. And I would be nearing my wit's end at the end of that, I should imagine. So that's why I'm going to use this as one of those projects that I jump in and out of, if that makes sense to you. I'm going to take that off there. I'm going to stick this bit down here just to balance that out. So this is going to become very much a collage project almost. As I said, I'm not sure how long it's going to take me to do this. I'm not sure when I'm planning to finish it by. I'm not sure what the uses of it's going to be. It's just going to become a way of using up scraps, which is what I was hoping to do. I don't like that bit. What was this? This is a bit of Stamperia paper. Do I like that? I wonder. This is a bit heavier because it's Stamperia. It must have been in a pad. It feels a bit heavier than cardstock, than paper stock. So I'll tear that off there. This is the time just to play, guys. This is absolutely, be as creative as you want. It's up to you. What have we got to lose? I've spent less than £1 on the book. All I'm dedicating to this is some time and effort, and I'm hopefully going to use up some scraps as I go along the way. Another thing I like is because when we get to these pages, it will be a double page spread. You can use that up as well. That would be lovely to do double page spread. Don't forget also, we've got loads of, well, not we, I'm guessing we've all got loads of washi tape hanging around. That piece just called to me there. I'm just going to stick that down there. Why not? It's a scrap. So we've got loads of washi tape. Don't forget washi tape could be involved in this. Also, if you've got tissue or napkin or anything like that, they're all commodities or resources that can be used. Right. Let's see. I wanted to see whether I've got... I pulled out 3 rings of washi here. Basically because I've got it all hanging around. I don't use my washi half as much as I used to, and I don't know why I don't use it, because I used to love using my washi. Let's see. Try and find something that's potentially got some leaves on it, or at least actually there. That one will do. Washi is another thing you can do for the center of pages, by the way. So remember how I reinforced the spine on one? You could quite easily have come in and reinforced it with a bit of folded washi, but I always glue my washi down with a glue stick or other glue, because washi tape isn't really meant to be a permanent thing. So by nature, it will lift up. Let's put another piece of that down because I've got it in my hand. There are no rules for this, guys. Just remember, this is just you playing. Will you stand up, please? Thank you. Put it down there. I also need a bit there and a little bit there. Let's fold that up. What have I got that could go across there? That's the wrong colours. Oh, that's interesting. Do I like that? Maybe I do. This looks like a ink or a paint cleanup sheet to me. Yeah, I think that will do nicely there. Now, I'm covering all the bits up, but if there's a little bit like that, I might very easily just leave it because of the next piece I'm about to do. So there you go. Right, so we're getting there with our first page. Let's get rid of that sticky magazine page. All the magazine pages you see me use are the remnants of me harvesting magazines for glue booking. Right, give me a second. I've just pulled out 3 boxes of ephemera here, or elements as I like to call them. This is Tracy Fox by Love Drunk Journals. These are just some of her labels from the digital. I'll see one I like immediately, which is this one, says specimens. So I'm going to come in and immediately stick that down there. That's where that feels right. Now, it is very easy to go overboard sticking labels and things on the pages. Remember what the purpose of the book is going to be, or the journal when you finish it. If it's going to be a writing journal, you do need to leave space for someone who's going to write, to be able to write in it. Now, I've only got that as a writing area. That doesn't mean I couldn't put a corner tuck here and put a tag or a journal card in here as well. I do tend to lean towards only putting 3s of things when it comes to stuff like this. Like I've got 2 labels, I will put another label on, and then I will say that's enough for labels. So I quite like that one. And that will tie that into there. Right. I just want to really quickly see if I can trim the sides of this, because it's giving me a wrong illusion of how big the page is. I normally wait till my pages are completely dry before I trim them. But but not in this instance, obviously, because you're all watching me. Now, something to bear in mind, and you will find this as you go along, is if you've got a large piece, you can always wrap it around onto the next page. Okay, so if you've got, let's get this piece. So I could be sticking that on this page, but instead of cutting it off, I could continue it around to the next page. Just put that out there, just so you know that it can be done. Right, so I've got those on there. I've got some postage stamps here. Let's see if there's anything that's any. Ooh. I'm trying to stay within this color group on this page. When I come to other pages, they may not be this color grouping. Okay, I am literally just finding anything that works and complements each other. So I could be going with harmonic colors. I could be going with colors that are actually contrast colors. Put that down there, I feel. Because I don't know what the eventual purpose of this journal is going to be, that's the reason why I don't mind putting like this. This makes it a travel journal. This makes it an insect journal. Maybe this makes it a botanical journal. It'll change character as per page, which is why I said I want it to be eclectic. Right, I want to come in and I'm going to put a butterfly on here. Now I do have, are these rub-ons? There's a rub-ons, I don't want a rub-on. Actually, that's the perfect one with those colours. Right, what I'm going to do is, this instance, I am going to do the edges of this. I'm using Tim Holtz Distress Ink Vintage Photo, just coming around the edge there, the edge there. Let's just pop him down on the page. Now, if you are someone who watches me on a regular basis, you will know I'm a great lover of layers, layers, layers. That's very much what's going to happen with this journal. I know that each page is going to be laden with layers. Now, I'd quite like a botanical element there, maybe a leaf or a twig or a sprig of something. Right, so I've got some labels here. Any labels you see me using are either someone has sent me Happy Mail as part of an official swap, or I've had them from eBay or Amazon. I don't order much from Amazon anymore, but I used to. I don't order from Etsy anymore, but I used to. So just know that there are places that I could have picked these up at. I was hoping for something orange. What's this? What's this big orange thing here? That's pink. That's not going to go on there, I can assure you. That's too big for that area. I don't know where my fussy cuts have gone. I know I've got fussy cuts somewhere. Oh, that speaks to me. I like that one. Now, normally when I stick flower stickers down, I normally put glue on the back of them. Because this is book page and it's just raw paper, I am not going to bother. Also, I'm not selling this or anything. It'll be for me. So I think if it starts to lift up, I'll just stick it back down again. So there you go, that's our first page done. I need to pause and just see where we're at time-wise. So I've had a look at the gallery of the clips we've already done, and we're about 40 minutes in. So I think if I was to start this page, this would take me at least another 20 minutes, and that will make this a longer video. So I think what I'm going to do is we're going to end this for today. We'll deal with the cover when we come to do the cover. Also, because I'm seeing this book now gutted for the first time, I need to think about how I want to proceed with this. So that's a really good start on page 1. What I'll do before the next video is I will go through the rest of these pages and probably put the writing panels in. I won't decorate any more than that. I will just put the writing panels in, because that way, when we come to a page, you'll see where they are anyway, work around it, because that's more about the decorating. So guys, hopefully you enjoyed that. As I said, look out in the description box as this goes on, and this could take weeks, this might take months to complete. I will keep adding and adding and adding the links below. If we get past 5 or 6 videos, I will make this into a playlist, because thinking about it, it may take me, with 116 pages to do, it might actually take me a while. So thanks for your patience, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Thank you very much for the reminder of the inspiration, Darcy. Do pop across and see Darcy's video. Do pop across and watch Gail Augustinelli's playlist. It's one of those things that's a really nice way of breathing life into an old book and turning something that was unwanted into a treasure for the future. So, I'm Ceri the Crafter. That's Ceri the Crafter. Until next time, goodbye now.